accurately. Do what is right. Do not deviate from the approved plan. Because once you start on the process, there will be seductions along the way. Once you start on the process, the enemy will amp up the seductions. Once you commit yourself to walk in a certain way with God, he's going to come along the path and say, come.
One step, one choice
Act accurately. Do what is right. Do not deviate from the approved plan. Because once you start on the process, there will be seductions along the way. Once you start on the process, the enemy will amp up the seductions. Once you commit yourself to walk in a certain way with God, he's going to come along the path and say,
I am choosing daily how you want me to live. Consistently I push back, my heart will never give. Endurance, focus, wisdom is what you get from me. Forget it, by your preference, I want eternity. Like Noah built in season, a life of purity. No hedge will ever be broken, they got nothing in me. Darkness is getting thicker, but who back up? My pursuit is rootless, and I will never stop.
Don't stop, don't divert, don't deviate, don't come off the track of your first decision. Keep going.
One step, one choice at a time. Each day, each point in my life. As your grace enables, I choose who you want me to be. One step, one choice at a time. Each day, each point in my life. As your grace enables, I choose who you want me to be.
Sisters dependent on me to journey till the end. So as I make the choices, my values never bend. Emotions want to rule me, but I say no, no. Staying in the boundaries and living by the code. Choices seem to be plenty, but there's just one road. In spite of what they may say, that road is your word. Help me to take the mask off, show me the face that's mine. Your will take me to it, I choose you every time.
One step, one choice at a time. Each day, each point in my life. As your grace enables, I choose who you want me to be. One step, one choice at a time. Each day, each point in my life. As your grace enables, I choose who you want me to be.
Won't be a fool, ain't in this alone. Got my brothers with me living in the red zone. Don't be deceived, the stumble is the lie. Take it little by little, cause we done won this fight. Don't be confused, choices are black and white. And we are transformed one choice at a time.
One step, one choice at a time. Each day, each point in my life. As your grace enables, I choose who you want me to be. One step, one choice at a time. Each day, each point in my life. As your grace enables, I choose who you want me to be. Keep working, I'm working on my core.
The hidden part of me that makes me who I am is my core, yeah. Way down deep inside where only God can see is my core. When I'm worshiping, praying, when I practice all that God's saying, when I'm listening, reading, then my spirit I am feeding, working on my core.
Keep working, I'm working on my core.
Working on my core, working on my core. Keep working on my core.
Keep working, I'm working on my core.
Working on my core, working on my core.
The choices that I make start down deep inside, in my core, in my core. The things I think about and friendships in my life build my core, build my core. When I'm worshiping, praying, when I practice all that God's saying, when I'm listening, reading, then my spirit I am feeding on my core.
Keep working, I'm working on my core.
Working on my core. Working on my core. Keep working on my core.
Keep working, I'm working on my core.
Working on my core. Working on my core. Hallelujah, my God is holy. He is majestic, my God is mighty.
He's my protector, my God is worthy. All of my life I'm gonna give him glory. I'm working on my core.
Keep working, I'm working on my core.
Working on my core.
My core.
Working on my core. Keep working on my core.
Keep working,
Working on my core. Working on my core. Keep working on my core. Working on my core. Working on my core. Keep working on my core.
Every day,
working on
my core. Yeah, I build my core. Working on my core. Yeah, reading, listening, and praying, and worshiping. I'm working on my core.
Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone here in Jamaica and worldwide. We welcome you this afternoon to the fifth in our seminar. Sorry about that. To the fifth seminar in our series, our Parenting Empowerment Initiative. This series is a collaboration between the Northgate Empowerment Place, N-PEP, and the Retreat Primary and Junior High Parent Teachers Association. A special welcome to the Retreat Primary and Junior High School. We thank the principals, staff, students, and parents for giving us the opportunity to contribute to your community. Our relationship and association with this institution spans over 20 years. We're thankful for the principal, Mrs. Jacinth Haldane, and the guidance counselor, Ms. Pottinger, who are so dedicated to the development of each child in their care so that they ensure that resources like this seminar is continually offered to them. The Northgate Empowerment Place, N-PEP, is a values-based parenting initiative spearheaded by the Northgate Youth and Family Development Foundation, the NYFDF, in association with other strategic partners. The primary focus of N-PEP is repositioning powerful values-based parenting as a starting place for nation building. The chairman and our lead presenter today, Wesley Boynes, is the facilitator for this series. He has been intricately involved in the Jamaican educational landscape for many, many years. We also have 4 beautiful parents who will be our panelists during this discussion this evening. They are Avia Gibbs, Kerry-Ann Hall, Edward Parchment, and Paul Campbell, and we'll tell you a little bit more about them just before our discussion begins. The sponsors for this afternoon's seminar, we have the Catalyst Bookstore and the Ocean Village Shopping Center, the Northgate High School, 1 White River Road, Exchange, Ocho Rios, and the Philadelphia Life Center in Ocho Rios. You will see their ads later on also. Now, last month, well, actually not last month, about 2 weeks ago on April 8th, we conducted the 4th seminar in this series. And that seminar was entitled The Power of Communication Between Parent and Child. It was a powerful session, and we have received quite a lot of positive feedback. And one of the feedback that we have been constantly receiving is how relevant it was, and how true everything that was spoken. The panelists that we had were quite transparent about their roles as parents and was quite invaluable in the success of the seminar. No wonder they are here with us again today. Now, in that seminar, the presenter spoke about the importance of listening to our children. It's important to listen to our children, the importance of doing things together and building memories. How important it is also for the community to be a part of raising our children. And with communities, we speak to your physical community, your neighborhood where you live. It's important that there's a right context, your family community, and of course, your kingdom community, your church community. It is important. Also, the importance of respecting your children. As adults, sometimes we're guilty of being disrespectful to our children. You know, sometimes that old thing, children heard should be seen and not heard. No, that's not the way. It is important also, our lead presenter, Wesley Boynes, also said, we are to be the example of what it is that we want our children to become. And that principle is our children become what it is that they see in front of them. We focused also on our men. A lot of times we have the seminars, we do not see enough fathers, and this is a cry all over. But change has to come. We focus on our men spending time with their children and letting them know that daddy loves them. And finally, we said that it is important to have family values and to communicate this to your child. Now, if it is that you want to see this particular seminar that I'm talking about, you can just go back and click on a link in the same YouTube, our account, and you will see that seminar there. We have added a new component to the series, and this is the Health Corner, where medical questions and issues will be addressed by various medical resource personnel. We start off today with Dr. Marcia Johnson Campbell, Medical Officer for the Parish of St. James, but we will tell you more about her as it comes up to that. Today, the lead presenter will tell you more about overcoming the COVID-19 challenge. And we'll talk more about that. But right now, let us hear a word from our sponsors, one of our sponsors.
Catalyst Bookstore and Stationery Supplies is a unique and powerfully functioning resource center. We offer educational materials and resources for strong family life. We encourage our families to not only learn together, but play together. The Catalyst strongly believes in community development, and so we interface with schools and institutions promoting mental, social, and spiritual health. The Catalyst Bookstore and Stationery Supplies, shop number 44, Ocean Village Shopping Center, Ocho Rios, telephone 876-974-3710 or WhatsApp 876-293-1150. The Catalyst, a resource center with family at heart.
Thank you. That was our sponsor, one of our sponsors, the Catalyst Bookstore. At this time, I'm going to be introducing our lead presenter for this afternoon, Wesley Boynes. Wesley Boynes, the founder and current chairman of the Northgate Youth and Family Development Foundation, the NYFDF, a not-for-profit organization that conducts various initiatives aimed at improving the quality of life of community members. He interacts with school leaders, educators, staff development programs, grief counseling. He's past president of the Jamaica Independent Schools Association, JISA, where he served as president from 2013 to 2017. He is founder and chairman of the Northgate High School. This is a private high school located in Ocho. You'll hear more about that today. Wesley Boynes is very committed and has a vision to see a strong Jamaican nation emerge and take its place as a leader in the world of human development. He is married to a lovely lady, Angela, and they have 3 children, Rina and twins Jabulani and Jodelani. So without further ado, let us welcome our lead presenter, Wesley Boynes.
Thank you very much. That's what I did. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry about that. It's a delay there. I'm really happy to be here again today, and we'll be looking at some key family issues regarding overcoming the COVID-19 challenges. And I'm really happy to be talking about this particular issue, the challenge which parents everywhere are facing. The COVID-19 crisis is without doubt a major challenge to all sectors of life. It is not just a health issue. It has become an economic issue, a political issue, educational issue. Marriages have, in places like the USA and China, the divorce rates have gone through the roof because the pressure, the social pressure which this situation have brought on life on Earth has shut down the whole entire planet. And one particular area of human life which is under pressure is family life, and it brings a lot of parenting challenges. And I want us to look at it from a parenting point of view. The COVID-19 is also a major opportunity for family life. It's not just a challenge, it's a major opportunity for family life. Family life before the crisis, parents were hustling and bustling and busy making ends meet, dealing with bread and butter issues, which is something. But it also resulted in the scarcity of interaction between a lot of parents and their children. In fact, school was home for many children. I am heavily involved in the education sector, and many children will tell you that school is their home. Now school is shut down in many cases in many nations around, and parents now have to spend unprecedented amount of time with their children. I've been coming across a lot of voice notes of parents apologizing to teachers that they didn't know it was so challenging being with their own children. Okay, and it sounded sort of funny and hilarious, but at the same time, it was sad to me that many parents are now just praying for school to reopen so they can get their own children off their hands. We all have to stay home with our children, and that should be a wonderful thing, but it brings a lot of challenges because parents have to deal with financial concerns. They have to go work. There's a constant interaction with the children. They have to exist all day long in limited physical space with their children in some instances, because not everyone lives in a big home. There are parents who live in homes that are 2 rooms, okay, or 1 room in some instances, and instead of there, you find 5, 6, 7 individuals who have to share this small space. And that can test relationships, can test self-control, it can test tempers. Families have to manage the passing of time because of the curfew hours. And in Jamaica right now, we have to be off the streets by 6 until 6 o'clock the next day. In some nations, it's a 24-hour shutdown for a long period of time. And of course, we have to manage the health issues, which everyone is all aware of. And as our moderator said today, we have the health corner coming up in a while, which will be very, very interesting. Okay, so it's very easy to look at all of the negative issues regarding COVID-19, but I am saying that there are some opportunities. Okay, there are some opportunities which we want to look at. The COVID-19 crisis brings a wonderful opportunity to take family life to the next level of fulfillment, the next level of connectivity with your own children, the next level of positive experiences and wonderful memories. And it brings a lot of time for us to deal with these issues. The issue of bonding, I want to talk about that. The COVID-19 crisis brings an opportunity for parents to bond with their children and with other adults in the home, may I say, between husbands and wives, with grandparents and all the other individuals who may make up your family unit. I think that in many instances, we parents fall into the trap of taking our children for granted, simply because we are their biological parents. The fact that you are biological parents to a child does not automatically mean that you and the child will be naturally bonded. There is a bond at childbirth, which can grow stronger and closer once given the necessary attention and effort. Or on the other hand, it can equally grow apart if it is not nurtured and tended to. So I am presenting to you today that bonding must be a deliberate and strategic activity which involves doing things together, setting up time to have conversations. That child, and may I say, if you have more than one child in that house, you have to make an appointment with each of them. Because talking to all 5 or 6 or 3 or 4 children together is different from having a one-to-one conversation with that young girl, that boy, that teenager, that 3-year-old child. Eating together is a time of bonding. Before COVID-19, it was grab that breakfast and rush out. Come in late in the night and grab a half dinner. Now we have a lot of time to do it properly. And while we are doing it, we can bond. Praying together. Talking to the children before they sleep. And this is not just for young kids. My older daughter caught me by surprise some time ago. She's a big girl now. She's out there working. She was home for the weekend. I said, Daddy, come and talk to me before I go to bed. And it kind of caught me by surprise because it's a long time she have not asked me to do that. But all of these are opportunities for bonding. Parents, this is a time to make deliberate efforts to create memories. Tensions in the household at this time, because you have to spend an extended amount of time with your children. If that is creating tension, it may well be a sign that the bonding process is in an unhealthy state. And we have to pay attention to that. It's a time for parents and children to listen to each other. And we spoke about that the last time, but I want to touch it again in this session. It's important to repeat this particular issue because true listening goes beyond simply hearing. True listening involves quality time. It involves ensuring that we get the whole story from the child. In the Jamaican and in the wider Caribbean issue, you know, there's still a lot of physical punishment which takes place. And anywhere I go and talk to adults and parents, a lot of people will indicate that they remember several instances when they were small, when they got punished in situations when they were not wrong, but because their parents did not take the time to listen to them, they ended up with the wrong conclusion. Many individuals, many adults. When I was up at the last physical meeting we had at Retreat Primary and Junior High, I asked the parents that same question, how many of you got punished for something you did not do? And many hands in the room went up. And we have been interacting with a lot of young people all over the island. And the number one complaint of many children, many teenagers, many younger kids is that their parents are not listening to them. Listening may begin with hearing, but it goes further. Listening is not just hearing with your physical ear. It goes further. It involves empathy. It involves eye contact. It involves the appropriate body language. It involves that you focus on that child who is sharing something from their heart with you. It means allowing the child to speak without disruption. And I want to encourage parents and guardians during this lockdown, during this curfew, during this time when COVID-19 has slowed down the pace of human life on the planet. I want to encourage you to take this time to listen to your child. And I might say it again in the next session, but I'm saying it again today. Take the time to listen without interruption. Because a lot of time when we are listening to our children, we assume we know what they're going to say. But I want you all to pay attention to that. Very, very important. COVID-19 brings the opportunity of time. Time for what? Time to deal with unresolved issues. Parents, let us take the time to clear the environment of your home by dealing with those unresolved issues. I have found out in my experience in counseling and dealing with parents and children and their issues that unresolved issues can fester for years if not given the appropriate attention. And it can permanently destroy relationships. And I have found out that many issues are unresolved simply because persons just have not found the time to deal with them because of the busyness of life. And I want to tell you that unresolved issues to human relationships, just like cancer is to the human body. Unresolved issues can produce unforgiveness, bitterness, and long-standing issues which people did not take the time to deal with. Okay? And these unresolved issues can impact the quality of the relationship between parent and children. Unresolved issues between parents themselves, which impact on the children. When parents, mother and father, have not dealt with their issues properly, then the children feels the negative vibes and the miscommunication. And if mother and father, they are not on the same platform, they are not reading from the same page, and it impacts on the quality of life and how that child should be developed. Unresolved issues between parents and children. I have spoken to many adults who who are 25 years old, 30 years old, 45 years old, and they're still bitter about certain issues with their own parents. There may be unresolved issues between siblings. Sibling rivalries can end up in really bad ways and bad results if they are not dealt with in a timely manner. So I really want to encourage families, while we don't get too caught up with the negativity which comes with the COVID-19. I know it's a really bad situation out there. It's a crisis. I feel it myself on a personal level. I have to deal with all of the implications of this disease running through the land and through the planet. But I also wanted to see the other side. It has caused us to come to a place we have to stop and slow down and deal with issues which has been festering for a long time, unresolved issues. When I come back to the other part of my presentation, I'll be sharing some other issues which COVID-19 has slowed us down to pay attention to. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Now, as we listened to our presenter just now, we heard about opportunities. And at this time, we're going to be inviting our panelists to weigh in on what was said at this time. Now, on the ground here, we have Mrs. Avia Gibbs, and Avia Gibbs is a director of N-PEP. She's also a mother of 2 wonderful young men, and she's a volunteer with NYFDF. So that's Avia Gibbs. And online, because of COVID-19, we have so many resourceful personnel, but of course, we have to be maintaining the 10 limit and the social distancing. So we have persons online. So our panelists online, we have Edward Parchment. He's also a father of 2, also a volunteer with the NYFDF. We have Carrie Ann Hall, a mother of 4, 3 girls and a young boy. And we have Paul Campbell, who is a father of 3 girls. Now we're going to be inviting them at this time to just talk to us. You've heard the first part of the presentation, and I'll start with Mrs. Gibbs, who is on the ground here with me. You've heard the first part of this presentation. Tell me something that stood out to you. So we're talking about opportunities during this COVID-19 challenge. What stood out to you?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
One of the things that stood out to me was the importance of building memories, creating memories. It's an immense opportunity indeed. And it is something that we have been doing as a family. And it's something that money can't pay for it, you know. Example?
Yes. Could you give us an example?
Okay. Example, when I was much younger, as a family, I would often be accompanied to the gym, where I would be the one that's in the gym. Now my sons are much bigger. They have taken the initiative. So they are the ones that set their own schedule. They also set their own gym routines. And I am the one who I tag along. So that for me is precious, because they are monitoring their time and I am able to join in something that they now feel motivated to do.
Excellent. Thank you. Mr. Parchment, Edward Parchment, what is it that you heard and an opportunity that has presented itself during this time? Are we hearing Mr. Parchment?
Yes. Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Parchment.
Yes. I think one of the points that stood out for me this afternoon is the point we just raised about bonding. Really, spending time with each other as a family unit. And when I say time, I mean quality time. Avia spoke about it, and that's a part of really spending those time that we can cherish and we can look back at and really enjoy and have memories, good positive memories of this time. Just for example, I see a lot of that happening inside of my home recently, as Mr. Wesley has said earlier on. We have more time, and we realize that as a family we can do more things. For example, last night my wife was baking, my daughter was inside the kitchen helping at times, just watering plants. They are outside, they're helping us, we're having a conversation while we do all of those things. So, I really put emphasis on quality and those small moments, but yet, really, really impacting and build together as a family unit. So I really take that's one of my positive takeaways from this session.
Thank you, Edward. Carrie Ann Hall, mother of 4.
Thank you, Mr. Dia. I think two things I think which go hand in hand is the issue of bonding and memories. I know for us as a family, especially having a newborn, things can be very always going. Because of this time, one of the opportunities that has been presented to us is where my husband now works from home. It's not that he's not working, but he's working from home. But because of that, there used to be a lot of travel time. Like his travel time was 2 to 3 hours on a daily basis. That's just traveling to and from work. And with that time now, that's presented us as a family with an additional 2 to 3 hours. And in that time, the girls are using the opportunity to make the best or the most, I could say, of having their father home. So, and the quality time comes in, the bonding comes in. For example, things simple as just going for a walk. So usually because he has to rush out for work in the morning, all of them would go for a walk and come back. But now he has the opportunity where one at a time can go walking with him and come back. And during that time, they create memories where they individually look forward to spending time with their father alone, speaking with him. If he doesn't wake up in time in any given morning, they will come and wake him up and say, "Daddy, it's your time and my time to go walking." And that is not something that you pay for there. So, during this time when, you might have to be looking at spending your money wisely, which you should be doing anyways, even when there is not this time. But that is something that costs actually nothing, but it creates memories as well as it allows some serious bonding time to happen. So that's one of the opportunities that we've seen and we are capitalizing on at this time.
Thank you. And incidentally, Carrie is streaming in live from Florida, right? Carrie is also one of our volunteers. The NYFDF is global, not only in Jamaica. We do projects all over the world, and Carrie is also one of our volunteers from the NYFDF in Florida. Thank you, Carrie Ann. And so we'll finally with Mr. Paul Campbell, father of 3 girls.
Good afternoon, everybody. I guess the final point is the one that stands out to me first. During this COVID environment, the first question people ask is, how you deal with everybody in the house? And the first question I ask, especially for the men, I said, but you're married to this lady. You said you love her. Now you have her all the time. What is the problem? You have these kids and you say, boy, I just love my kids, but now they are there all the time. You shouldn't have an issue. So for me, if an issue comes up, it is time to deal with the resolutions. It's a good time to begin to resolve issues. I have friends who text me constantly, and I have one person who keeps saying, I wonder when school will open. For me, the time is so valuable. We work all the time. You're always on the road. I am at shutdown now where I am not on the road. Most of the times I am home. And I'm so happy to have the family around me. You can talk, you can spend time together. That value you can't get, as people say, you can't buy it. So for me, the issue of just spending the time, resolving the issues, talking about stuff that is there. Stuff we never get time to talk to. You might have an issue where because of the time frame, because of the work, because of the up and down, you don't have the time to deal with it. You can deal with it now. The resolutions can come now. It's time to spend time and face-to-face. A lot of people, I realize, in marriage, the only time they had the face-to-face was when they were standing before the pastor. After that, everybody hiding everybody. It is a good time now for us to spend time and look on each other. Remember what each other looks like face-to-face, fix some of the issues, resolve some of the problems. I think that is the joy of it, that you have the time now. You are allocated the time now. You are given the time to fix some of the issues. So resolving issues stands up to me right now. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Paul. And Paul actually is streaming in from Montego Bay in St. James. Edward was streaming in from Prairie in St. Anne. So you see, we're not just located in Ocho Rios, we're global. At this time, we'll have a word from our sponsors.
Do you have children 10 to 14 years old? Are you looking for an online school option that offers live video interaction between students and the teacher? Are you looking for a safe environment to help build character in your child? Then contact us at Northgate High School. We engage a values-based approach to education while delivering academic and life skills training. Parents of homeschooled children and those with children who are temporarily without a school option for this term, contact us. We may just be the answer you're looking for. Call us 876-506-2785 or email us northgatehigh2012, that is northgatehigh2012@gmail.com. Northgate High School. Impact through education.
The Catalyst Bookstore and Stationery Supplies is a unique and powerfully functioning resource center. We offer educational materials and resources for strong family life. We encourage families to not only learn together, but play together. The Catalyst Bookstore and Stationery Supplies, shop number 44, Ocean Village Shopping Center, Ocho Rios. Telephone 876-974-3710. WhatsApp 876-293-1150. The Catalyst, our resource center with family at heart.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for that word from our sponsors, the Northgate High School and the Catalyst Resource Center. At this time, we will go right back in to our presentation with our presenter, Wesley Boynes, for part 2 of our seminar this afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Moderator. So we are talking about the time which this crisis has brought upon parents that they have to spend with their children. And I spoke to you about the last time I mentioned it was the issue of dealing with unresolved issues. And I hope that today, issues which have been lingering and festering for months and years, or maybe decades in some instances, that parents will make that phone call, they will have that meeting tonight, they will deal with those issues, and tonight will be a night of breakthrough, and you'll be set free. This situation that we have found ourselves in because of the virus has also given us time to build understanding between our children and ourselves as parents. Understanding has to be built. It doesn't happen automatically. In our context, we always say that if it is not built, it does not exist. Dr. Ujuf tells us that all the time. And I want parents to really look at the relationship with your child as something which you have to build. It doesn't drop from the sky like a breadfruit. And in constructing this understanding, time is of essence. And because of the lockdown, because of the curfew, because of the restricted movement of human life, we have all the time we need. And along with time, you need consistency. To understand someone, you have to spend time with them, and you have to keep interacting with them all the time. So okay, sorry about that. We had a technical issue here. Yes, so I was speaking about the issue of understanding. The COVID-19 situation has given us an opportunity to build understanding between each other. And I was saying that in our context, we have a saying which says, if it is not built, it does not exist. We got that from Dr. Woodruff. And in building that understanding, there is a issue of not just time, but consistency. It's one of the important building ingredients to build understanding with anyone. You have to be consistent in your interaction with them. You have to be patient. A lot of time I hear parents complaining that I don't understand this child. I don't understand this child. It causes a lot of patience and understanding. You cannot understand that child if you don't spend time with the child, because many times I ask the parents when they complain, well, I don't understand this child. I ask them, so how much time do you spend with the child? And a lot of time the response is not adequate. Because a lot of parents, as I said before, they take it for granted because they are the biological mother or father. Then it automatically means that they understand the child. And it does not work like that. Building understanding requires lots of love, lots of forgiveness. Very, very important that we practice these values so that we can build understanding with our children. Children are very different from when we were children as parents. They have grown up in a different world. They have a different type of pressure to deal with. They have to deal with a different type of distraction. Okay, their world that they are growing up is very, very different from the world that we grew up in. And if we do not understand the context that our children are growing up in, then we wouldn't be able to understand them. They are wired differently. And we have to understand these issues. And when we understand the issues, then we can relate to them and we can understand them. Very, very important. And we have all the time in the world. So parents, we also have time to pay attention to the internal development of our children. A lot of times we can get caught up with the external issues. The external issues are like paying the bills, paying the school fee, buying the school books, making sure they got lunch money, uniform, all of the bread and butter issues, which are very important because A child cannot live if the child is not eating. The child must sleep somewhere. They have to provide a bed and shelter and all of these physical stuff. Very, very important. So I want you to hear me properly. I'm not discounting the bread and butter issues, which we parents are responsible for. We have to go work and find a job and manage financial issues, and all of those things are very important. And I am aware that the COVID-19 situation has given a hard blow to the economics of the nation, of nations, I should say, not just in Jamaica, but everywhere, wherever you are. The economic implications of this crisis is mounting higher and higher by the day. So I want you to know that I am very aware of the economic situation which parents now have to deal with. But at the same time, parents, we are also responsible for the internal development, the development of values inside of your child, their character. This must not be ever compromised, even in the heat of dealing with the bread and butter issues and making sure they eat and they got lunch money and all of these things. But at the end of the day, you go talk to any parent, and they will tell you that they want their child or they want their children to be honest and decent persons of good standing in the society. You know, from time to time, I'll go up to the prison and visit prisoners at one of our prisons here in Jamaica. And I look at all these young men. It's a male prison in the Tower Street Adult Correctional Facility. Young men. And you go talk to the parent of any of these young men. Strong. Some of the most talented guys are behind bars. Just there. That's their life now. They were once children. They were once babies in somebody's house. They were once somebody's pumpkin. They were once somebody's sweetie pie. And a few years later, they're a hardened criminal. Or some of them just got caught up with the wrong company. But they were once children at one time. What happened? And when you sit down with these young men, a lot of times at the root of the issue is a breakdown of their values, is a deficiency in their character, which nobody took time to deal with when it was treatable before it ended up in the prison. I remember years ago, I went down to the lockup to talk to an individual who was locked up by the police because they were caught ripping off the firm in which they worked, where they were employed. And my first question to that person was, when did you start stealing? The person stole millions of dollars from their workplace, somewhere close to $20 million. And I asked the individual, when did you start? So my discussion with the individual had nothing to do with the 20 million. I went straight to the beginning. When did you start stealing? And it was not at the institution where they were working. It started when they were a little child, a little sweet pumpkin in their parents' house. They started stealing small things, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then 25 years later, they are working some, and they are going after bigger bounty. Parents, while you go after the money and the lunch money and the food and the dinner and all of these things, which are very important for human existence, you have to pay attention to dealing with the character issues of your children. Is that child selfish? Yes, it maybe it's an icy mint the child stole from his brother or his sister. But at 7 years old, you have to do it. If you just say, sure, it's just an icy mint, then the principle of stealing is left untreated. And 25 years later, it might not be an icy mint, it might be $20 million from some place they're working, or they might be holding a gun in somebody, hardworking person's face to rip them off. So that's why during this time of lockdown under COVID-19, I want parents to begin to have conversations with your children. Talk about the family values, rehearse the family values. What are important inside of this? What are the important values which applies inside of this family? You may pick up certain character deficiencies. You may see a little selfishness. You may see a little laziness. You may see a little vindictiveness. You may see a little tendency to say bad things about other persons. Deal with it while it is still small. Okay, ensure that your child does the right thing even when no one is looking. That's character. Character is what you do or who you are when no one is looking. And when you deal with those issues in the home, when that individual is still a child, then that child will not be a problem to the police or to the state 10, 15, 20 years later. This is very, very important. And most of all, parents, be an example to the child. The same values you want to teach that child, you want to pass on to that child, you need to display it before the child. I want to end by saying that the COVID-19 also gives us an opportunity to build and establish the family altar. It is so ironic that in this time of COVID-19, churches can't be open. People cannot go to church. And instead of that, people are learning a very important lesson. Number one, the church is not the building. The Lord made it very clear in the Bible that he does not dwell in building made by hands. He dwells in the human heart. The first church was the human heart. And when that was expanded, the family became the next church. God created the family unit before there was anything called a church. And the family is the first context, the first place where the fear of God is instilled in the hearts of humans. Now, some of you may not believe in God. You may be an atheist, listen to me right now. You may probably don't have time for church. Maybe you have issues with church. I am saying whether you believe in God or not, let me tell you something. Children who grow up in the fear of God are usually easier to manage. They make wise decisions and they exercise a lot of self-control. There are things that an individual who is governed by the fear of God, they have respect for God, they will not do. Parents, you may notice that you are not getting any younger. You are getting older, and there are certain stress and issues with your children that you do not want to be dealing with when you get older. And one of the ways which will make it easier for you is if you bring your children, you bring them up in a way where they fear God. And when they fear God, they will think twice about lying. An individual who fear God will think twice about cheating. An individual who fear God will think twice about disrespecting his or her father or mother. The family church have to be reinstated, and this is a great opportunity right around the planet for families to begin to meet again and pray again and hold hands around the table and talk to God. COVID-19 has brought us right back to where it started, the family church. You men out there, you fathers, you are called to be the pastor of your house. You are the real priest in your house. If there's no man in the house, then you ladies, you take up the responsibility. So I really want to encourage the family units who are listening. If maybe you're just a mother and your son, or your daughter, or you and your 3 children, the father is nowhere to be found. Begin to put God first in that house. Begin to come together and hold hands and pray and begin to give yourselves to the Lord in that way. I'm sure there are a lot of needs in your home, but you can get a lot of direction when you come together as a family and really seek God, and He will help you as a family. This is very, very, very important. So we have looked at a lot of things which we can look at as parents inside of the COVID-19 situation. We can bond with our children. We can listen to them in a way that we have never listened before. There's massive opportunities to deal with unresolved issues. Okay, there's an opportunity to build understanding. There's an opportunity to pay attention to the internal development of children. There's an opportunity to build up the family altar. Massive opportunities, and I want to encourage all of the parents who are listening with me right now to seize that opportunity. There are other things to treat with. There are a lot of pending issues. There are financial concerns and different things which adults have to contend with. I understand. I'm a parent myself. I live right here in the midst of the crisis. I'm not living in heaven. So I understand. But while we manage these issues, okay, let us make the most important things a priority at all times. The development of our children. Let us build our relationships. Let us ask the Lord for help, and He will help us. This is a great opportunity. It's not only a negative situation, it has brought us home to our children in a way that no situation could have brought us home. Let us seize the opportunity with both hands and come out as a better parent on the other end of the crisis. And if you come out as a better parent at the other end, your child will come out a better boy or a better girl at the other end of the crisis. I'm looking forward to our next talk. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Boyes. Paul Campbell in St. James. What have you been building at home, Paul, during this time with your family, your wife, your girls?
Afternoon again. I think what stood out here, and as you said, building at home, is pay attention to the internal development of the child, and not just the child's internal development, but your own. Children live what they learn. I cannot say don't smoke, and I am a smoker. I cannot say you need to go pray, and I am not praying. You need to go read your Bible, and they have never seen me read my Bible. So for me, that internal development of not only yourself but your child is important. And as you develop and build your systems and structures internally, pay attention to the systems and structures you're building in your children. If you don't build one, somebody else will, or something else will. The system will build a structure for your child if you don't build one. And I guess the verse that stands out to me is the one in Ephesians 6:4, where it says, the version says, fathers, don't provoke your children to wrath, but give them the training and teaching in the fear of the Lord. And so that training and teaching in the fear of the Lord is important, that the child can develop properly and correctly, can find God for themselves when they reach that stage of leaving home. But that really stood out to me. The internal development of the child is as important as my own internal development. If I am going to teach my child the direction to take, I need to start to take the right direction also. So I think that is what's standing out to me right now.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Gibbs?
Okay, what some of the things that I am building? As Paul rightly said, my own development, looking at myself and the things that I need to develop in my own self first. I've also been with my children in the kitchen more. So in a very practical way, developing culinary skills, things that they wanted prior to now, they wanted to learn to do. We now have the opportunity to do that. I've also been given the opportunity to learn more about games that they play. So they record their games, and I mean, there was one evening when I got a tutorial as to the games that they played, the type of arsenal that they use. It was lovely. So that was beautiful. And we play word games. So we find word games and we download it on the phones and we play, we assist each other with the different word games. And how to deal with difficult situations. We talk a lot, we process a lot, we thrash things out a lot. So that's something that's precious to me. So those are some of the things that we're building.
Thank you.
Could I just add?
Yes.
Something that's very real to me is the fact that my tomorrow is not guaranteed. And in thinking about the session, a question that came to mind is, what would you do if you knew that this was the last day that you would have to spend with your child? What are the things that you would want to tell them? What are the principles that you would want to instill? And to live each day deliberately, because the next breath that I take, it's like I'm not entitled to it. I can't control that. And so it's important for me to live life to the fullest. And that's something that we have discussed as a family, and it's something that we're deliberately building.
Good, good. That's one of the things that we have been thinking about, our mortality. But then we know that this leaving Earth here is not the end. It's actually the beginning, right? For some of us. Mrs. Hall, Carrie Ann Hall in Florida.
Good afternoon again, everyone. I think for me, out of the session, one of the things that I really, picked up on was the issue of the building understanding between each other and the child. And the thing out of that is the remembering that each child is different. And I cannot assume that they're all the same, and how I deal with one issue is the same I'm going to deal with another issue. How I correct, while it is important to bring correction, it's not the same that I'm going to correct and sit and speak with each child. And so that was one of the things that I really remember, the fact that each child is wired differently. And because of that, how I pay attention to their internal development is also really important, because as they each grow and develop, their, like Mr. Bowen said, their character deficiencies that's going to come up, because the Bible tells us that foolishness is bound up in the heart of children. And so as these, what we consider character deficiencies come up, it is our responsibility as parents to recognize these things, see them for what they are, and put deliberate steps in place to correct these things inside of our children. Because if not, like he said, you know, at the end of the day, they'll become thieves, they'll become killers, they'll become things that we don't want them to be. They will not be productive members of society. And so I realized even greater my responsibility as a parent to make sure that I see my kids properly. I don't see them only as, oh, the little fluffy cheek person, but see what, if I don't correct now, what it can lead to, and the disaster that it can become if it is not dealt with while I still have them and they're still moldable.
Very key, very, very good, very key. Mr. Parchment, Edward
Yes.
Parchment in Prairie. And after Edward, I'm going to be just reading some of our comments from some of our viewers online.
Yes, good afternoon again, everyone. I think just listening to this session, I'm really seeing where all the points that were shared really overlap and can't separate any one of them. Speaking about understanding each child. For us, for me, as a father here, is just to, as Kerry said earlier on, to understand, what is the nature or the character of each child differently. Each one is different. Each one is made unique. And I tell my kids that each of you is unique. None of you are the same. And for me to understand that, how I treat different situation is different. So understanding and consistency there is a very big part of it. Also, the internal development. And when I heard internal development, I heard it from two angles. I'm hearing it from things that needs to be addressed in terms of nipping things in the bud. And I'm also hearing it from the point where they have values that need to be ramped up. So I am seeing where this opportunity now has, opened up my eyes to see what are some of the things that my kids need what needs to be addressed, and what are some of the areas that I see as positive values in them that can be ramped up and built on. So both development can take place side by side. There are things that need to be pushed down, while there are things that need to be raised up. So I think that was also important. And also just looking at the point of really helping the children to understand at this time, how we treat with this situation. I share with them, what are we doing inside of this COVID-19 situation? Practical examples, they are part of it. It's a pandemic, affects everyone. How do we, with the parents, my wife and I, deal with issues? They are inside the family, they are not separated. So things like, for example, we have to be more conservative, practical examples. Be more conservative with electricity, be more conservative with what you use, don't waste things. And I sit and talk to them about these issues because, truth to be told, we don't know. In their lifetime, there might be another pandemic that comes in their lifetime, which they can learn from this situation. I'm taking opportunity from this to really help to put life building skills inside of this opportunity. Talk to them about how you go about practicalizing things, as I said before, saving and not wasting resources that you have. So I mean, it's really encouraging, really encouraging. And as I said before, the children, they are unique, they can learn. We just need to be patient, we just need to be positive and really help them to build these different areas and build the skills that they need, so that when they become older, when they become parents, then they're better parents than I am.
Thank you, Edward. I'm going to be reading just some comments saying hello to some of our viewers online, but I want our panelists to think about this, and I'll get back to you just for 30 seconds in a response. It was stated, family is the first place where the fear of God is instilled in humans. I would like our panelists to tell our parents that are joining now online, tell parents listening, how do you build your family altar? All right, so you can think about that. While I welcome some of our persons online, we have Chioma Oben, we have Stephen Morrison from Turks and Caicos Islands, Olivia from Miramar in Florida, Stacy in Montego Bay. You have Tony Lee in Trelawney. We have Sheldon Brown, who is in Runaway Bay. We have Rohan Yee in Kitson Town. I can't pronounce this name. Alumeki Kalepi, and coming all the way from Fiji in the South Pacific. He says, I'm so glad to have found this from ABCKC. Beautiful. Kyle Anderson, from the Retreat Primary. Orlando Scarlett from Montego Bay. We have Janine Pottinger, of course, the guidance counselor at Retreat Primary. Welcome. Ione Stewart, also from Retreat. Pauline Pennant. Pauline says families are under construction, so we must acquire the right tools to build accurately. Ricardo Akin, all the way from Barbados. Welcome, welcome. Diane says, very important family values. Culture must be built in the home. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Shatom says, priority should be managing our family relationships, especially our children. All right, so those are just some of the comments. At this time, we will go back to that in a few. At this time, our panelists again, and we'll continue the same order. So we'll have Paul first, and then we will have Avia, then we'll have Karian and Edward. How do you build your family altar? Talk to our parents.
All right, good afternoon. Again, I think it starts with the concept of the fear of the Lord. The Bible states that the fear of the Lord is where the beginning of everything is, you know. And that fear is not the scared of the Lord, but is the respect and reverence of the Lord. You teach people to have respect and reverence for God. They actually learn respect and reverence for themselves. And that is where everything starts. So to build the altar, the first thing that needs to be done is a mindset that we're going to have an honor and respect for God. From that position now, you get into the issues of prayer, into the issues of studying of the word, into the issues of practicalizing the word of God for yourself, you know. Because there are a lot of people where church is a song service, pastor preach, give the offering, and you go home. It has to move from that position to where your life is lived based on the principles and precepts of God have written out. Our senior apostle, Dr. Woodruff, said in one of his teachings last Sunday that the whole first 5 books of the Bible is really a manuscript for how civilization must live. It is really telling people how to live. All the definitions are there. How to live among yourselves, how to do business, you know, how to carry yourself. It talks about everything, your hygiene, everything. So taking the word of God in that level, in that practical level, and teaching the children the basic principles of the word of God, how to treat each other as children, you know, how to respect adults versus as a young person, if you're a young person. Those basic steps must be done. So for me, the building the family altar is to practicalize the word of God, teaching the word of God, practicalizing the word of God, praying, teaching them how to talk to God. Prayer is really your conversation with God, not just something said and hope to somebody here. It's knowing that there's a God and knowing that when you talk, he hears and he listens. The Bible says God write down the things that are said, you know. There's surveillance going on in the spiritual realm. So for me, that is the starting of the building of the altar. Thank you.
Thank you. Avia, Mrs. Gibbs.
Okay, a couple of things that are done. The starting place for us, it has always been beyond mommy, beyond daddy. You are ultimately accountable to God. And we are not omnipresent, but he sees and he knows everything. And guess what? He will tell us. So that's something that that was priority, and it remains priority. Additionally, when they were younger, we would watch a lot of Bible stories and videos, and we'd extract principles. So there was an understanding that this is not just a lovely historical movie. And so with that in mind, even whenever they watch movies, they understand that this is not just merely to pass time, but principles coming out of the movie would be discussed. And so it makes it a richer experience, and it helps them to understand that you're not an airhead who you're just blowing time. You know, there is purpose to everything that you do. We also spend time praying. They understand that this is a relationship between you, God, and yourself, and you have to give account for that. You have to put deliberate steps in place. There are things that you have to do, and you have to take responsibility for that. Important also is valuing the context in which you are placed. You are accountable. You are a part of a community. You are accountable. You are not a law unto yourself. So you give account to, yes, you give account to myself, but you also give account to the persons who are put in charge over you in the community, and they learn to value that, because that's where real issues of life work out, because if you are on an island by yourself, I mean, life is wonderful, but when you have to interact with other imperfect persons, with other imperfections, having to work out your imperfections, plus deal with managing the dynamics of relating with others, then that is where true relationship with God comes in. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Gibbs. Very good. I'd like to hear from Mrs. Hall. Carrie-Ann Hall.
Okay, good day again, everyone. I think for us, well, firstly, we have younger kids. My oldest is 8. And for us, one of the things we constantly emphasize is, firstly, the fact that their bodies are temples of God. Their bodies are living temples. And then we move into them understanding that they were created in the image and likeness of God. And then after we have that platform, we have daily devotions with them where we review what we are taught on a Sunday, looking at the various principles and how it applies to their daily living, how it applies to them interacting with each other. Like Mrs. Gibbs said, one of the things we do is we'll watch Bible stories and we sit and we look at the various principles coming out of that, and also give them the understanding that this is not just a historical event, but there are living principles at work that you yourself need to make sure you live by. Another thing that I think Paul said, which is something that we came across recently, one of the things they have to do first thing in the morning is they have to sit and read their Bibles and come back and tell us what they have read and whatever principle they have gotten from what they read. And a couple weeks ago, my oldest said, "But mommy, I've never seen you read your Bible. Why do I have to always read my Bible and I don't see you?" So I said to her, "I do read my Bible, but I read it before you guys wake up, because once you guys wake up, then I have to keep moving." And she's like, "Well, I've never seen you do it, mommy." One morning, she woke up early enough because she wanted to prove that I was actually reading my Bible. And she got up and she came and she was like, "Oh, mommy, you are reading your Bible." So it's like Paul said, it's important that children see you, because what they see is what they will become. And so for her, we realized that the struggle for her became less when we say, "Go read your Bible," where we no longer have to say to her, "Go sit and read your Bible," because she saw me doing it and she's also seen her dad doing it. It's her automatic thing now. Once she wakes up into the morning, she has this reading area where she calls her den. It has her Bible in it and her notebook, and she just automatically goes, sit down, read, and then will come back and say to us what is there. And she's the oldest. Because she's doing that, her sisters are also doing the same thing. And all of that is part of how we craft the family altar, part of how we get them to understand that you are the church. You are the one God is after. The church is not a building. The church is not something out there. You're individual person. You are the church. And so, that's how we engage it. And I suspect as they grow up and things change and they develop, there will be different principles that we'll have to make sure that we be very deliberate in sitting down and speaking with them about, and that kind of a thing. Yeah.
Thank you. And to close off this period, Edward Parchment.
Yes, I think one of the ways in which our altar is being built is through our family interactions. And we use that as a platform every time to springboard into other areas. It's very interesting to hear the discussions that comes out of our family interactions. And what I see is the heart of the children being poured out. And it's an opportunity for us parents to see what they are thinking. What is it that is going through? It might not be something that is spiritual, but we know everything is connected. All right, so there's an opportunity for us to look at it and really, point them in the right direction. So we are guided by the biblical principle. Just like as my other colleagues have said before, we're guided by biblical principles. And what we see happening is that from time to time, things will happen. Things will go off, but how do we get things back on track? We go back again and we make reference to the same biblical principles that we will have discussed that we need to reinforce. So those are some of the platforms that have been used to strengthen things. I mean, other things that we do, just like what everybody else has said, really praying, reading the Bible, spending time and discussing what is being read. And also, one other thing that we used to is that we watch movies together. And a lot of times I will find a movie and say, okay, we're going to watch this movie. And at the end of it, what was the principle that came out of that movie? We're having fun, but at the same time, what's the principle? And the other thing too is also sharing. My wife and I sharing our lives. Because, for example, something happened that day where someone said something to me. It was unethical. They wanted me to do something. And I said, no. And I said, this is something that we know it is wrong. I will not do it. I don't expect you to do it either. So, sharing our lives, sharing examples, sharing what is happening around us, sharing our world. So those are some of the practical ways in which, we do.
Thank you so very much. We're going to be going into our health corner after this, but before we go into our health corner, just move around a little bit. We spoke about internal issues. That's the core of who we are. The core is the essence of who we are, and our children and parents, we need to work on our core. So let's work on our core. Physically, spiritually, and socially.
Keep working, I'm working on my core. The hidden part of me that makes me who I am is my core, yeah. Way down deep inside where only God can see is my core, When I'm worshiping, praying, when I practice all that God's saying, when I'm listening, reading, then my spirit I am feeding, working on my core. Keep working, I'm working on my core. Working on my core, working on my core. Keep working on my core. Keep working, I'm working on my core. Working on my core, working on my core.
The choices that I make start down deep inside, in my core, The things I think about and friendships in my life build my core, When I'm worshiping, praying, when I practice all that God's saying, when I'm listening, reading, then my spirit I am feeding on my core. Keep working, I'm working on my core. Working on my core, working on my core. Keep working on my core. Keep working, I'm working on my core. Working on my core, working on my core. Hallelujah, my God is holy. He is majestic, my God is mighty.
He's my protector, my God is worthy. All of my life I'm gonna give him glory. I'm working on my core. Keep working, I'm working on my core. Working on my core. Working on my core. Keep working on my core. Keep working, working on my core. Working on my core. Keep working on my core. Working on my core. Working on my core. Keep working on my core. Every day. Working on my core. Yeah, I build my core. Working on my core. Yeah, reading,
and praying and worshiping. I'm working on my core.
Beautiful. So let us keep working on our core. Actually, at 5:30 this evening, our team here, our members of Philadelphia Life Center or the Northgate Youth and Family Development Foundation, we're going to be exercising, right? So we have we go on Zoom and we're all exercising. Monday morning was so wonderful. I went for 45 minutes and I never stopped. I'm working on my core. So 5:30 this evening, we're working on our core, not just a physical man though, right? We're working on our internal issues. Is there selfishness? Is there laziness? Is there greed? Is there dishonesty? Let's work on that. Mrs. Haldane, Jacinth Haldane, the principal of Retreat Primary and Junior High, welcome. She says, children must be brought up in the fear of the Lord. This is where wisdom begins. And I'm seeing the Silver and Citadel TV show from England. And his wife, Shelley, says, hi. Hi from England. All right, don't go to your bed until we're through. After we're through, then please go to bed. Now, this time we're going to our health corner. And this evening we have with us Dr. Marcia Johnson Campbell, Medical Officer of Health in St. James. And Marcia is a public health specialist. She's also a volunteer with the NYFDF. She graduated from the university as a medical doctor. She returned, completed her master's in public health. She's currently pursuing a doctorate of public health also at Mona. She's actively involved in all types of things, Cancer Society, her Montego Bay High School past students. Two of her favorite quotes, she has many quotes, but two of her favorite quotes is, there is a way to carry water in a basket. Now, I'll want to talk to Marcia about that a little bit more, How do you carry water in a basket? Well, I guess maybe if we line it. And she's another one of her favorite quotes is, I want what God wants. She's an ardent Christian with a passion for youth development, married with 3 daughters. Welcome, Dr. Marcia Johnson Campbell.
Thank you so very much. Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. And we are so happy and pleased that we could have you here. We know how busy you have been and you really crafted the time to facilitate us, and we really appreciate it. During this time, COVID-19, the pandemic that's worldwide, it's taking over the world. And you're here, you're in Jamaica, and you're dealing with so many issues. Sometimes you try to find you, can't find you, you're just at work. And we just want to use this opportunity to say thank you to our health professionals in Jamaica, everyone within the health system, whether they're in the foreground, the middle ground, the background, wherever they are, we just really, really want to say thank you at this point for the work that you're doing selflessly. So Marcia, talk to us a little bit about, in a minute, how has it been for you during this time?
Okay, it has been a very interesting experience. In public health, there's never a dull day. And my days are long, early mornings, late nights. I'm away from home. So everybody else at home is, staying at home. I'm out there. But it's a very interesting and fascinating job. And I really do enjoy what I'm doing. And I know that God has placed me here for such a time as this.
Okay, thank you, Marcia. Now we have received some questions and we've asked persons just to send us some questions about this. And we're just going to be maybe using 2 or 3 of them. Now, one of the questions we have here is, if I live with elderly people or young children and still have to go to work every day, do I need to stay away from them, even though I'm not showing any symptoms?
A very good question. And it's a real reality because not everyone is able to stay at home. This disease is new and evolving and we're learning a lot each day. But one thing we do know is that our elderly persons, those with underlying conditions, are most at risk. And our children also, we have not seen a lot of our children having the disease, but we want to ensure that our children are protected. So in general, we ask persons to practice very simple hygienic measures. If you're sick, stay home. If you have a cough or sneeze, you cover that cough or sneeze with a tissue which you throw away carefully, or if you don't have that on hand, using the crooks of your elbow, and as soon as possible, wash your hands or use a sanitizing gel, which is alcohol-based, at least 70%. We ask that persons, if you are coming in, one of the routines that I do personally, coming in from outside, I remove my shoes at the door, and I spray with some disinfectant. Alcohol is what I have. And then I go quickly to go washing my hands. And I advise the children, because this is usually the time where everybody, oh, mommy is home, and they rush out and want to hug. All right, just hold on a little bit. I will do so in a little while. So I go and I wash my hands, and I remove my clothes, and I go and have a shower, really clean up myself, and then all the hugs and kisses and everything. The other thing we do in the home is to try to, we ask persons daily to just clean down, especially the high touch areas, the doorknobs, the phones, the tabletops, anywhere that persons are always touching. We ask that you clean that down daily. And normal household bleach is good. Soap and water is good to do that cleaning down. If you're coming in with groceries, we've seen some people go through some extremes when they come in with groceries and other products about cleaning down and washing. And we're not really emphasizing things like that. You can wipe the outside of the bag with some disinfectant wipes. And usually, because we know that the virus will not remain on outside of the body, survive for too long, then certainly if you just wipe the outside, your fruits and vegetables just gently wash and you should be okay. But there's no need for this excessive cleaning down. But if you do the normal things, wash your hands, clean down the high touch areas, and if you are sick, then you have that situation to deal with.
Okay, and we just always have to be on the alert. I remember I was in the supermarket a couple of weeks ago, and I saw someone, I was just about to hug them, and then we realized, and we just jumped back on everything. And this time of physical distancing and social distancing, kind of hard, but it's a new normal at this point, and we're adjusting because we want to live. Now, for those parents who have symptoms of the COVID-19, but they have yet to be tested, should they stay away from their children? And suppose the breastfeeding mom, how do we go around that? How do we work that, Marcia?
All right, so definitely once you're sick, we want you to stay away from others. And it's going to be very hard when you have children who want their love and affection. So one of the things is to really inform your children, talk to your children, sit down and explain to them in a very gentle and careful way what this whole disease is about and what are the means of prevention. We don't want our children to feel rejected or neglected in any way. So we really want to explain to them why it is that we want to do what we are doing. But certainly, if you are sick, again, we want you to separate yourself, limit your interaction with other persons, cover your coughs and sneezes, dispose of that tissue carefully, and do the frequent hand washing. The wearing of masks, if you are sick, is very useful in preventing your respiratory droplets from passing on to others. So that could be something also that you want to do even while you're at home. If you are having any symptoms, to cover that face with a mask or another facial covering.
So you're saying that right now, as you said, mask, I actually had my mask here, but it's not on. But then because we're social distancing and everything, But I should have had on my mask like this, right? Should I have now?
All right, so at this point, if you're 6 feet away from the next person, I think you can go ahead without having your facial covering at this point.
Okay, all right. We have a question from Josephine online. She's from Portland. She says, good evening, good afternoon. I am a grandmother of a child going to Port Antonio High. She's in grade 8. I would like to get her more in this program. I don't think the school is doing much. So this is a grandmother, Marcia, who wants to, well, she wants to get involved in this program here, but also, as she has asked this question, what would you tell that grandmother now? She's a grandmother, although we have some young grandmothers, but this is a grandmother, a child going out to school. How would you tell this grandmother to keep herself safe?
All right, so grandma, as being one of the vulnerable persons, really need to be protected. And it would be ideal if grandma can have her own room and her own bathroom so that she would limit the interaction with other persons in the home, especially if these other persons have to be going outside. And certainly for grandma, if she's going out, then she would need to wear a mask. And we know, based on the disaster risk management order, then our elderly persons are restricted from going out unless it is really for the essentials of life. But while grandma is at home, we use the opportunity to tell stories of her life, her journey, share some of the traditions of the family with the children. And I know a lot of children love to hear the grandma stories. They might think grandma miserable, but they love to hear the stories. And certainly from the earlier presentations, we have heard how this is an opportunity to build family relationships, to spend time with each other as a family. So grandma, read Bible with grandchild. Grandma, because grandma know lots of old scriptures and lots of old songs. Do those things with the children, even while you maintain your distance.
Thank you. And the final question here, Marcia. Dr. Johnson Campbell. I'm a single mother with 3 children, ages 3 months to 8 years. I'm frustrated and broke, getting no help. My only means of survival before the COVID-19 crisis was to go out into the public and hustle with my children by my side. How can I manage this situation?
This is really an unfortunate situation, and it really is actually the reality of quite a number of people. The mommy being the breadwinner and not in a government job where no matter what, she's going to get a salary at the end of the day. She has to work in order to earn. And it may be very, very difficult at this time, we acknowledge. But we have to prioritize. We have to understand what is most important at this time. What is most important is that we abide by the regulations of the Disaster Risk Management Act and follow the guidelines of social distancing as much as possible. So community comes in quite a lot right here. And we spoke earlier in the presentation about the value of community. We have to see, so the government would have had some benefits for persons like this person. Unfortunately, those access to those benefits may have closed off, or the opportunity may have closed off. I don't know if this person would have had access to PATH before to get some of the benefits, but outside of that, we're going to have to rely on community support. Where there, hopefully, she has either family or a church community or some other NGO that is there to help, to support. Whatever food is available, we can try to find creative ways of using the little. And Jamaicans are very resilient, you know, we know how to stretch the little to make much. So we want to ensure that, yes, our children have something to eat. It may not be gourmet, but making sure that they at least have water, hydrated, keeping hydrated and having something to eat, and relying on community support. And And I'm sure we as NYDF, we will find ways to assist other persons who are in similar situations. But we're relying on the community to assist them at this time. There are some councillors and members of parliament who are providing care packages. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security is also providing some care packages for persons. This is an opportunity if she has a space to start a little backyard garden, that it's not going to happen today, but planning for the future, because this thing could go on for a little while. So if she has the opportunity to plant something at home that she would be able to use a little later. But we really have to draw on our creative skills and the support of community to help each other at this time. Priority though is that she have a stair yard.
You know, that's as you're talking, that just brought me back to mind of a situation that was featured on the news earlier this week. A mother with 8 children, you know, in Kingston. And just this morning, I was on Facebook and I proved that I know, you know, the Center and Quarantine Cook-Off, and me and my brother, them good crew. And they were mobilizing, you know, to go in and to help that mother of 8. And I was thinking, how can I help? And just as I was thinking about that, one of our volunteers here, Mrs. Boynes, she called and she started speaking about the same issue. And I was saying, whoa, I was just thinking about it, and so on. And so as a part of the NYFDF, that's something that we're going to be contributing some food stuff to the situation on Friday. So as a foundation, that's something, as you said, community. Now, we don't know her from Adam, but that's not the key. It's that someone needs help and it has touched her heart. So we'll also be assisting in that venture. Community is key. Now, online before you go, Dr. Campbell, and we have someone online and we'll just call her a parent. And we just want to hear from this parent who is at home with kids, a husband, and she is seeing some symptoms. She's thinking, she doesn't know because she has not been confirmed, you know, for positive, but we wanted just to have her speak to us as someone who is in this situation as to how she's managing at home, quarantining herself, because since she's not sure, she does not want to harm her family. So do we have that parent online?
Good afternoon, Miss Cydia.
Good afternoon, Pierre. I am wonderful, and I really thank you. I really thank you for taking the time to join us. And we made sure that, unfortunately, we have been seeing in Jamaica where persons have been stigmatizing persons because if you just sneeze or cough, persons have been hurt just by sneezing, just by coughing. In my house, the fan was on the fan and I'm sneezing and my mother is saying, Claudine, where's the alcohol? So even in your home, sometimes that happens, but this is your situation. You're at home, you have children, you have a husband, you're exhibiting symptoms. What is it that you have been doing? Tell us.
Okay, all right. Well, actually, I am on 14 days quarantine. I was sent home because I was coughing, sneezing, having sore throat. All right, what I'm doing in my situation, my husband, he works out on a daily basis. My 2 boys, they're home because they're having school, it's a homeschool, online schooling, I should say. And in my situation, I was contacted by the Ministry of Health, who came by my house and they did an assessment of my environment. They came and they checked how many apartments I have, how many rooms, if I have a room with a bathroom that I can stay in that room by myself. Also, they ensure that I have enough disinfectant, bleach solution, alcohol, hand sanitizer to utilize. Also, they assess if I have, you know, the continuous symptoms with the coughing, the sneezing, and they check my temperature. Also, on a daily basis, they will call to find out how am I doing, if I have a fever, if I'm coughing or anything like that. All right? With my husband now, because he work out on a daily basis, when he come home from work, he would take off his shoes at the door and he would go straight to the bathroom so that he can, you know, bathe before he come and say hi to me. If I'm going to interact with the children, I wear my mask. As what Dr. Campbell mentioned, that it's good for us to wear our mask because if we're sneezing or coughing, we can pass on the symptoms. I don't know if I have the COVID yet because the results are not yet back, but right now I have to take the necessary precautions because I don't know where I stand because I'm a suspected case. So I have to sanitize the doorknobs, I have to wipe down every day, I have to sanitize my environment just to ensure that if I sneeze or cough and any particles are on the surfaces, my children, they don't get in contact with whatever that is there.
Thank you so very much, parents. So here we have a real life situation and so on. Dr. Campbell, you're hearing this patient, this parent, I'm sorry. What are your thoughts? Let us hear from you.
All right, being in isolation or quarantine, waiting on results can be quite an anxious time. One of the things we want to reassure persons is that COVID really is not a death sentence. The majority of persons, more than 80%, will only have mild symptoms and they will recover. They will recover. The persons who are most at risk would be those, as we said earlier, who are elderly or have underlying condition. So chances are this person with mild symptoms will run its course and will recover. While waiting on the results, it's a good time to, to just check on your values and to reflect on life and really get closer to God, because He has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of a sound mind. And He will give perfect peace at this time. So it's a time to just really connect with God and relax and wait patiently. She has been doing the measures that we have recommended in terms of limiting her interaction with other persons, sanitizing, wearing her mask. Usually, the usual protocol would be that we do a sample at the beginning, and at the end of her time of monitoring of 14 days, we would also do a repeat because sometimes if we test too early, then we may not pick up. So we do the test at the beginning and as well at the end of the 14 days. So at this time, she really should just, we have to pay attention to our mental health, especially at this time during the time of quarantine or isolation, and just know that there is going to be an end to all of this. It's not the end of life. Use the opportunity to read, to reflect, to do all kinds of things. Creative things can be done during this time while we wait patiently on the results. And hopefully she will be able, well, if it is a positive result, then she would be taken in, maybe admitted to hospital, or she could continue to stay at home. And then we would wait until all her symptoms are ended. And then we repeat the test 2 days after that first negative, then we get a second negative, and then she has another period of monitoring. So it might be a long process of monitoring and isolation, but at the end, we expect to have a good outcome, a time of rejoicing at the end.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. Thank you so very much, parent. Thank you for being transparent, and thank you for just coming on and sharing with us. Dr. Campbell, we'll have you just wrap up now, and you'd want to give the numbers for the COVID-19 hotline at this time. So just in case persons who want to call, there are a few numbers and so on. They will be on screen on screen at this point. So you can just wrap up this health corner at this point. Unmute your mic. You might be speaking, but your mic is muted.
So there is the national COVID hotline numbers that can be called. And then in each parish, there is emergency operation that is set up at the public health department in each parish. And those numbers you can contact to get further information. If it is that you have symptoms or you suspect that you have been in contact with somebody, call these numbers and they will guide you through the process of how it is that you can come to have a test done. If it is that you are ill, we don't want you to just stay away without going to a doctor, because sometimes at the end of it, you stay away and now you need to produce a sick leave to go back to work. We want you to call and they will guide you through the process as when it's a good time to come and see your doctor so that you can be properly assessed, given the appropriate instruction and sick leave for that time. So call the COVID hotline numbers, 888-754-7792, 542-5998, sorry, 876-542-5998, 876-542-6007, 876-542-6006, 876-542-5998. And the one that most people can remember is the 888-1-LOVE. So that's 888-663-5683.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Johnson Campbell. It was our privilege and a pleasure to have you here. Now I hope you're going to get some rest, because we know tomorrow is another day and you have to be out there. We are praying for you. We are praying for your team. We're praying for, as we said, the whole health team, the Minister of Health right now. We're praying for you, right? We have you.
Thank you so very much. It was my pleasure to share with you. Rest, I'm not so sure about that, but we press on. The Lord is good. The Lord is good.
He is good and he is sovereign. Thank you so very much. So that was our health corner, and that will be a standard feature for our upcoming seminars. We'll be telling you the date of the next seminar at the end. Well, we are on the final. We're closing at this point. We'll be getting our closing words from our lead presenter. But at this time, we would just have a word from all our sponsors, and then our lead presenter, our facilitator, our chairman, Wesley Boynes, will have his closing words. A word from our sponsors.
Do you 10 to 14 years old? Are you looking for an online school option that offers live video interaction between students and the teacher? Are you looking for a safe environment to help build character in your child? Then contact us at Northgate High School. We engage a values-based approach to education while delivering academic and life skills training. Parents of homeschooled children and those with children who are temporarily without a school option for this term, contact us. We may just be the answer you're looking for. Call us 876-506-2785 or email us northgatehigh2012, that is northgatehigh2012@gmail.com. Northgate High School. Impact through education.
The Catalyst Bookstore and Stationery Supplies is a unique and powerfully functioning resource center. We offer educational materials and resources for strong family life. We encourage families to not only learn together, but play together. The Catalyst Bookstore and Stationery Supplies, shop number 44, Ocean Village Shopping Center, Outer Reefs. Telephone 876-974-3710. WhatsApp 876-293-1150. The Catalyst, our resource center with family at heart.
A Catalyst Bookstore and Stationery Supplies is a unique and powerfully functioning resource center. We offer educational materials resources for strong family life. We encourage our families to not only learn together, but play together. The Catalyst strongly believes in community development, and so we interface with schools and institutions promoting mental, social, and spiritual health. The Catalyst Bookstore and Stationery Supplies, shop number 44, Ocean Village Shopping Center, Ocho Rios, telephone 876-974-3710 or WhatsApp 876-293-1150. The Catalyst, a resource center with family at heart.
Thank you. And our final sponsor, the Philadelphia Life Center. Now, the Philadelphia Life Center is our kingdom community, and 90 or 95% of the volunteers for the NYFDF and N-PEP come out of the Philadelphia Life Center. And so we invite you to join us online for church. Of course, we can't meet physically now, but of course, that's not stopping it because we are the church. We invite you to join us online every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. local time, Jamaica. You can join us directly by typing in the link on Zoom, www.northgateglobal.com/live. That's www.northgateglobal.com/live. We are so looking forward to welcoming you. You may call us for more information at 876-578-5492. That's a Philadelphia Life Center. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I will hand over at this time to our presenter, our chairman, Wesley Boynes.
Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. I thought the health corner was really excellent and beneficial to all who were listening. Thank you, Dr. Campbell. I hope that the parents and those of us who are grandparents and other types of guardians, that we got value in today's interaction. Main message, let us take the opportunity that is before us to fix things. This is a season of fixing things, of repairing things. Okay, so there may have been issues in the home which were just there, pending, festering. Let us make this a season of repair. Let's just go back to our homes this evening and fix stuff, fix things, have conversations, call our children, call our other family members together, and let us look at the issues in the home which need fixing. Let us all do that. Let's don't be fixated on the crisis out there. Okay, let us just deal with what we can deal with. We can only change what we can change, nothing else. And what we can change and adjust are the issues inside of our families. So I just want to leave that with all of you, and I want to send up a short prayer for those who may be facing situations which you think is much bigger than your efforts. Well, nothing is too big for God. So let me pray for you. Heavenly Father, I just pray for all of the families who are listening right now, the representatives of families, the teachers, the parents, the school leaders, those who are facing situations which are intimidating and they are overwhelmed by what they have to deal with. Relationship issues, financial issues, and all the other issues which comes with this crisis. But I pray that you will show yourself strong to those who put their trust in you. So I pray for every parent, every guardian, every boy, every girl, every tutor, and whoever else gathered here. And I pray that you will reach down with your love. Father, show them your strength. Lord, give them an opportunity to fix the things which need fixing. I pray that those who listen to this program, they'll go back to their homes and you'll give them grace to address issues, to have that conversations with which they may have been avoiding for the longest while. I pray that they will just go home and deal with it tonight, oh Father. You're a good God and your mercy endures forever. We thank you for a very productive time, and we are looking forward to you leading us and showing us the way forward. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so very much. All our viewers, our NYFTF and N-PEP volunteers, we have not been able to do this without you. We will never be able to do it without you. You are the ones that make it what it is. At this time, we're going to be putting up our for persons who may want to contact us. Our grandmother in Portland, we will contact you further to speak about that situation that you asked us about. Our next seminar will be on May 13. Let me just make sure that I have the right date. Wednesday, May 13 at 2:30 p.m. And we will be looking at the topic, the parental challenges of virtual school. That's what has been happening, virtual school. And there have been challenges. And so we'll be looking at that, the parental challenges of a virtual school. And that will be part 1, May 13 at 2:30 p.m. Now, you can always come back to our channel here and click on this link and just watch this again. Send on the link to your colleagues and your friends, because this is life, this is gold. We thank you once again. We thank our panelists, Mrs. Avia Gibbs on the ground here with us, Karen Hall in Florida, Paul Campbell in Montego Bay, and Edward Parchment in Prairie St. Anne. Thank you so very much. Mr. Vines, wonderful as usual. We want to thank you, sir. We really want to thank you. Our team here, we have less than 10 persons here, 5 of us. Thank you, our members, team on ground, Jabu and Jabulani and Aldine. We just want to thank you. Thank you, team members. Thank you, everyone. So be safe, go home, curfew time. Thank you so very much. Bye, see you in May. Or you can watch us again in another hour or 2 hours. We are here. Bye-bye. Thank you so very much. Bye-bye.